This meeting is being recorded or broadcast. Images and sounds may be captured of those attending this meeting. First up, we have the Pledge of Allegiance led by the team from Antonio Del Buono Elementary School. Principal Codiga.
Good evening. We're going to have each student introduce themselves and what their role is at the site.
Hello, I am Camila and I am historian.
Hello, I am Olivia Wilson and I am in 4th grade.
Hi, my name is D'Angelo and I'm a president.
Hello, my name is Jocelyn and I am a commissioner.
Hello, my name is Caroline and I'm a commissioner.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing.
We will now do the anti-bullying pledge. Put your hand up. Thank you. We will not bully others.
We're going to have you guys repeat, okay?
We will not bully others.
We will not bully others.
You guys can help her.
We will include other students that are being bullied.
We will include other students that are being bullied.
We will include students who are being left out.
We will include students who are being left out.
If you know that someone is being bullied, you should tell an adult.
If you know someone is being bullied, you should tell an adult.
At school? At school and at home.
At school and at home.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Great job. Thank you very much. Next, item 4B, approval of the agenda. I will entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have an agenda. Next, item 4C, recognitions. Dr. Flores, kick it off.
I'd like to ask the Safe Routes to School people who are here to come up. We're going to do you first. So we've had this incredible partnership with Safe Routes to School. In fact, some of these people have worked with us at numerous sites for years now, and we really, really appreciate the partnership that we've had for how many years now? 4. It's been wonderful. So they wanted to recognize some people tonight, so I'm going to turn it over to them.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, board members, staff, and community members. My name is Rocio Luna, and I'm the Santa Clara County Public Health Deputy Director, and I'm here with my team. I'd like to just take a second to introduce them. We have Alyssa Campbell, Michelle Wexler, Martha Lara, and Alice Kawaguchi. This team does a fantastic job in this South County and Gilroy specifically, and we want to take just a few minutes today to acknowledge a few fantastic volunteers and students that really make this program shine and are really at the forefront of getting us moving and walking. We recognize that it takes an entire community to really inspire change and to improve the health and wellness of our students and families. But 6 individuals specifically that we will recognize tonight have gone above and beyond the duties to really make the Safe Routes to School a success at Gilroy Unified School District. So with that, I want to first introduce our first award, and it goes to 10th grade student Karina Rodriguez from Gilroy High School. And I'm just going to take a few minutes to say just a little bit about each of our awardees tonight. So Karina, always with a warm smile and can-do ready attitude. Karina has been instrumental in encouraging her peers to walk or bike to school. Karina started with Safe Routes to School program as a student leader at Solorzano Middle School, where she collected school travel data and presented her findings to a group of key stakeholders, including city engineers, police, public health advocates, parents, and school staff. She engaged her peers, whether cool, shy, special needs, or everyone in between, to participate in school route maps, surveys, helmet fitting, education, or walk and roll encouragement days. In her first year at Gilroy High, Karina gathered her fellow peers to help develop a Safe Routes to School peer mentorship program between Gilroy High School and Solorzano Middle School. This involved training younger students to plan and implement the Safe Routes to School activities. Thank you, Karina, for all of your accomplishments and dedication to improving the safety and health of your fellow peers. Thank you so much. No. This is the team that makes it work. Great. Our second award goes to former Gilroy Unified School District Board Member Jaime Rosso. Thank you. So Jaime Rosso has been our school and community champion of the Safe Routes to School program since the beginning of the first grant back in 2015. With such enthusiasm and eagerness to help, Jaime was out there at walk and roll encouragement events, either passing out raffle tickets, stickers, or incentives to children, helping to lead walking groups to school, or providing a quick safety message at school assemblies. This is no easy undertaking, because if you've ever been to one of these activities, they start at the crack of dawn. So it's quite an impressive task. Jaime made efforts to attend many Safe Routes to School action planning meetings, and being a representative of Gilroy Safe Routes to School task force group that meets quarterly. Jaime was also influential in working with the Gilroy Unified School staff and public health staff to get a walk audit completed between Elliott Elementary and the Alexander Station apartments. Thank you, Jaime, for your leadership and commitment to Safe Routes to School program over the many years. We really appreciate it very much. Thank you. Our third and fourth award goes to school site leaders Francesca Garcia and Rosie Ramon, counselors from Solorzano Middle School. Both Ms. Garcia and Ms. Ramon's leadership, enthusiasm, and commitment to the Safe Routes to School program has improved the overall culture of students choosing to walk and bicycle to school. Both counselors took the lead on engaging youth leaders to help plan walk and roll days and a bicycle festival every spring. They even agreed to support a high school student-led mentorship pilot program to help build student leadership and empowerment into the program. Due to their dedication to make walk and roll events fun, students are seen wearing green wigs and tutus, promoting healthy hearts and minds signs, and enjoying the sound of the local school band performing as they arrive at the front gates. Because of their creativity and passion, walking rates have increased from 5 to 11%, and bicycling rates have increased from 3 to 5%. Both of your leadership and ongoing support has been invaluable. We couldn't have done this work without the two of you. Thank you so much.
Yes, staging area.
Our fifth award goes to Principal Jean Wells Southland from Rucker Elementary. Principal Southland has gone above and beyond to support walk and roll days. She has found ways to incorporate walking to fit the uniqueness of the school. Due to the rural location, Rucker Elementary School has very limited walkers. Therefore, on walk and roll days, held every third Wednesday of the month, students are encouraged to ride the bus or carpool with other families or walk for those who live within close proximity. Every month, she wears bright green walk and roll shirts and is out there disseminating raffle tickets and incentives to students, rain or shine. After morning announcement, she is more than ready to give high fives with a huge smile to all 500 plus students during the school-wide walkathon, where students walk the interior part of the school. Often she invites California Highway Patrol officers to join on the walk. She also takes advantage of every opportunity she has to collaborate with local law enforcement and the Public Health Department to bring resources and education focused on bicycle and pedestrian safety. Thank you so much, Principal Southland, for your commitment to find ways for your students to become physically active. And our sixth and final award tonight goes to parent volunteer Laura Wilson from Antonio Del Bono. So Laura has supported the Safe Routes to School program in multiple ways. As the parent Safe Routes to School coordinator at Antonio Del Bono, she worked effortlessly to engage other parents on walk and roll days and other bicycle and pedestrian safety activities. Every second Wednesday of the month, Laura arrived bright and early, and I mean bright and early, with her daughters ready and motivated to incentivize students who walked or rolled to school. Students were always excited to see her, and she always welcomed them with huge smiles and a great sense of humor. She knew everyone as if she was a part of their family. Laura has helped coordinate family fun bike nights and bike rodeos where students learned about bicycle safety and or how to fit helmets appropriately. Thank you so much, Laura, for all of your support and for all of your efforts in keeping children and families healthy through walking and biking. Congratulations to all of you again, our award winners, and we hope to inspire you to continue to support us in the years to come. Thank you so much for all you do.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jaime.
All right, we have a few more recognitions this evening. So the next one is the Elliott Elementary California PBIS Coalition Recognition. And we're very pleased to be able to recognize Elliott tonight. And I know there's a few people here from Elliott, so please come up. I know you all participate in this. You want to introduce everyone?
Good evening. We are here is the Elliott staff. We have Mr. Riley McBride, who is our literacy facilitator, Miss Donna Klein, who is our kindergarten teacher, Miss Rosa Chen, who is our 4th and 5th grade combo teacher, and Miss Carol Juneau, who is our 3rd grade teacher. And congratulations to them because they put a lot of work into PBIS for the last 4 years, or three to 4 years.
Thank you. I have a few comments I want to make about this award. Each year, the California PBIS Coalition recognizes schools for the various levels of PBIS implementation, ranging from bronze to platinum. In August, Elliott staff were notified that their school had received a platinum recognition. That's the highest possible designation by the California PBIS Coalition. PBIS stands for Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. The program is defined as a framework for enhancing the adoption and implementation of a continuum of evidence-based interventions to achieve academically and behaviorally important outcomes for our students. As a framework, the emphasis is on the process or approach rather than the curriculum, intervention, or practice. The idea of a continuum emphasizes how evidence or research-based behavioral practices are organized within a multi-tiered system of support, which is also called response to intervention. The relationship between academic and social behavior student success is established and individual student success is emphasized. In short, the Elliott Lions are fully implementing Tier 1, 2, and 3 interventions, and there is evidence of its academic impact. I want to congratulate Principal Maricela Rivera and the staff on this designation, and to the students and families, all of you, for working so hard within this framework. I also want to acknowledge Patricia Polino, who started it and really led you all through the implementation phases, so we're very appreciative to her. So the board and I are very proud of you for reaching the highest level, and congratulations. Are we in? Great. Thank you so much. A few weeks ago, James Pace, Enrique Diaz, and I were able to attend a very special event in Velia Cotiga's honor, and I'm going to ask Velia to come up, and I'm going to embarrass her and say a few things about her. So as you know, a few times a year we like to recognize and applaud our exceptional staff. So we're really happy tonight to be able to recognize a standout member of our administrative team, ADB Principal Velia Cotiga. Recently, as I mentioned, Velia was honored by the YMCA, Mount Madonna YMCA's Youth Development Hero, and she was recognized at what they call their annual Fall Anthropy celebration. She was celebrated for her tremendous dedication to the ADB community and the Gilroy Unified School District. And that was, she was nominated by the YMCA staff. Velia started in GUSD, I hope I got these right. She'll tell me if I didn't, as a student teacher at San Ysidro School. Yeah. That's right, great, in 1994. And she became a K-6 migrant ed support teacher at San Ysidro, then Los Animas, and Rod Kelly soon after that. She taught bilingual first grade at Glenview Elementary for 5 years and taught kindergarten at Rucker. Then she moved back to San Ysidro in 2000 and taught there for a couple years. She was the literacy and ELL site leader at Los Animas from 2002 to 2003, and then she moved to ADB in 2003 as an ELD teacher and was appointed as the principal in 2006. Velia's been the principal for a long time at ADB, so she's accomplished a lot. Her school has one of the lowest turnover rates in the district, and I attribute, there are many reasons for that, but one of the main reasons, and I know this for a fact, is her collaborative leadership style and how she involves staff in decision making. I see heads shaking. It's a really special way that she works with staff, and I think that's one of the many reasons why they stay so long. It's rare for her to have an opening. She's a strong instructional leader who works closely with her staff in the faithful implementation of textbook adoptions and district initiatives such as SEAL. I just walked the campus with her, was it last week? 2 weeks ago? And in every classroom, we saw textbook adoptions being faithfully implemented, and of course, we saw great things in SEAL. She's been the leader among elementary principals in the PBIS approach. Her school received that award, 4 years? Last year? Last year, so they've also reached the same level. And she and staff from ADB have been going to workshops for about, 5 years on PBIS, and she's consulted with many other principals helping them. One of the reasons she was chosen for this award is her support for the YMCA and our Power School after-school program at ADB. She's very involved with that program. She has an equal commitment to the special ed program at her site. It's truly exceptional. She loves those kids. In the last few months, it's been a very difficult time for ADB staff and Velia due to the decision to close ADB next year. Velia's worked closely with the district and with her school community to create the smoothest transition possible, and we all very much appreciate that. She truly inspires her staff, students, and families to thrive and be the best they can be every day. Velia, on behalf of the board and I, we're really pleased to recognize you tonight, as you were recognized by the YMCA for the Community Service Award that they call it the Positive Hero in Gilroy, and you certainly are one. Congratulations. Since you can't read this, presented to Velia Cotega in recognition of being named as Youth Development Hero by the Mount Madonna YMCA. We express our gratitude for your countless contributions as a leader and positive role model for the students of the Gilroy Unified School District and ADB School. Gilroy Unified School District Board of Education presented the 7th day of November 2019. Congratulations. I imagine a majority of the people in the room are here for the next part, and we're going to be recognizing 8 very special elementary students from 3 of our schools, ADB, Elliott, and Luigi. So I'd like to ask the 3 principals to come up, because as soon as I say a few words, you're going to be calling those students up. So we're in the 5th year of CASP testing. For the audience, that just means for our state testing program. And this test requires students to explain how they solve problems, think critically, and write analytically. This year, 83 students district-wide, that's K through 12, well, that's really 3 through 12, earned the highest possible score on the English Language Arts section of the test. 56 GUS students earned the highest possible score on the math section, and 45 students in GUSD earned a highest possible score on both tests, ELA and math. So as a district, we're very proud of each of these students who we're going to honor this evening for receiving the highest possible score in one or both areas. So I'm going to ask the principals to read the names of the students. Do you have a list?
Yeah. Where's the list? Okay, from Antonio Del Bono, Esteban Picasso.
From Elliott School, we have Alexis Sanchez Martinez. As we continue, we have Cesar Ramirez Jimenez from Elliott School. And we have Brian Dominguez.
From Luigi Aprea, we have Victoria Gonzalez O'Donohue. Lydia Tesfa-Michael. Abigail Serna. And Gavin Matto.
Dr. Flores, let me go on these.
Yes.
There you go. Okay, mommies and daddies, you're welcome to come up behind me if you'd like, but I will have the kids take a picture with me first. All right, everybody smile. Woo!
Keep smiling.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good job. Keep up the good work.
Good work.
Families, you're welcome to stay, but this would be an opportunity for you to escape.
Thank you.
Hi. Thanks for being here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, this brings us to item 4D, general public comment. At this time, members of the public may address the board on any item or any issues within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board that is not listed on this agenda. No action can be taken on an item not on the agenda at this time, but may be referred to the administration or put on a future agenda. Members of the public may address the board on an agenda item before or during the board's consideration of that item. In accordance with board bylaws, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each. We have several this evening, so I'll say Rachel Castaneda, you're up first, and on deck is Josiah Castaneda.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rochelle Castaneda. I am a parent to a GATE and dual immersion 6th grader and a dual immersion 1st grader, and I also have 2 little ones at home that will soon attend GUSD in a few short years. I have spent 7 years as a parent at Los Animas Elementary and spent 3 of those years serving on the Home and School Club board, 1 of those years being Home and School Club president. And currently my time is spent volunteering at the school for year-round teacher appreciation events, school social events, and fundraising. It's fair to say that I have spent many hours on campus and have seen my fair share of behind-the-scenes happenings at Los Animas. I like to think we have an amazing school, not perfect, but a school that is progressive in technology, STEAM, and learning in general. I give the credit not only to the hardworking teachers, but to the leadership and guidance of our qualified principal, Ms. Sylvia Reyes. I want to respectfully address the Board of Education in regards to our beloved principal. It has come to our attention, we the parents, from an employee at the district, that Ms. Reyes has been put on administrative leave for creating a hostile work environment. To say that we, the parents, are disappointed in this personal matter and how it's been handled is an understatement. We are wrapping up our 4th week with her absence and have had almost no communication from the district of what the future of Los Animas holds. Now, while we understand that this matter does take time, we're a tad confused as to what is taking so long. Is there an investigation taking place? And if so, I would hope this is a thorough process that has witnesses and is allowing Mrs. Reyes to give her account of the events being told, and not an investigation based in hearsay. If it's some kind of consequence, we ask that you think seriously about the ramifications that are taking place, the rumors that are being spread, a name that is being tarnished, parents wanting to know what happened, assuming the worst based upon the length of leave and little communication from the district as to what is going on. Again, this is respectfully, I'm saying this. Now, I know Ms. Reyes, and I know these things being said, well, none of them are true. I know Ms. Reyes to be a hardworking, innovative, caring, intelligent principal. I've had the privilege of witnessing firsthand many teacher trainings, parent trainings, touring other schools with Ms. Reyes to pull from their wisdom, endless interactions with children, front office staff, and teachers. I have witnessed these times to be ones full of compassion, yes, full of wisdom, humility, and openness to learn from mistakes, teamwork, laughter, frustration at time, disappointments, concerns for safety, but her being concerned for safety, a concern for higher standard, to do better, to grow, to dream. Things I think we all can consider to be healthy ups and downs of the workplace, but not hostile. If I had more time, I'd share specific, which I do not. So I would ask that the parents of Los Animas here to support Ms. Reyes would stand up. And we ask tonight that the Board of Education take this decision very seriously, as not only someone's future will be determined by you, but also, yes, the future of STEAM technology and the dual immersion, and our schools relying on you to make the right choice. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, Josiah. On deck, Isabella Carrasco.
My name is Josiah Castaneda. I am a 1st grader at Los Angeles, and I have something to say about Principal Reyes. Principal Reyes is a great principal because she is caring and kind. She can be kind when she sees someone fall. She will help them up. She will be caring when she is nice to others. She is kind and caring to me and to others. She gives compliments to other staff members, teachers, and students. I hope that she comes back soon.
Thank you very much. On deck is Ramiro Gomez.
What?
Isabella, it's your turn. Yes.
Hello, my name is Isabella Carrasco, and I am a 4th grader in Las Animas Elementary School. I am here to support a very special person in my life, Principal Reyes, and to let the people know what a special person she is. She has been the person that I've looked up to since I started school at Las Animas School. Without Principal Reyes' support, me and all the kids at my school will not be where we are at. I am especially thankful for the dual immersion opportunity that she had made available for me and many more kids. I can personally say that my mom and especially my dad are really thankful that my brother and I can now speak, write, and read Spanish and English. Please allow our Principal Reyes to continue being a positive model in all the kids in Gilroy as our one of a kind principal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Hi, my name is Alejandro Carrasco, and I just want to say that we miss Principal Reyes because she is a very special person, and we all need her back.
Thank you very much. Next, Ramiro Gomez. And on deck is Edith Lopez.
Good evening. Like I said, I'm Ramiro Gomez. I'm a parent at Las Animas. I have 2 children that are attending there. I'm also on the school side council, and I'm here in support of Principal Reyes. I've seen her work, and I think that she embodies a lot of leadership skills that I admire. One is the work ethic, right? She's always on. Always on. There's never been a moment where I'm not talking to her and she's not talking about the accomplishments at the school, what's going on with the school, what the future of the school holds. Her communication style is very great. She's always keeping everybody on point. She keeps communication, no matter how complex the issue is, she keeps it simple, clear, and concise. And she's able to express what needs to be expressed simply so that people could understand it. She's always talking about the successes at the school, how the kids are getting higher scores, how that school in general is doing better on average than the other schools in the city. We're very proud of that also. We're very happy with sorry, I'm a little sick today. We're very happy with the school. We really like the staff. We really like the teachers. We really like the community. We think that there's a lot of progress that has been made at the school. We're very saddened by her removal because we feel like the progress has been stopped. We feel like the leader of our community has been taken away, and we'd like her to be back. Yeah, that's all we got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And on deck is Adriana Torres.
Buenas noches a todos, miembros de la mesa directiva y personas aquí presentes. Mi nombre es Edith López y soy madre de 3 hijos. 2 de ellas están asistiendo a la escuela Las Ánimas.
Good evening, board members and everyone present. This is Edith Lopez. She's a mother of 3 children, 2 of whom are still students at Las Ánimas in the 3rd and 1st grade.
Y hoy estoy aquí para darle mi voto de confianza a la señora Reyes.
I'm here tonight to give my vote of confidence with Principal Reyes.
Ella ha trabajado muy duro para tener la escuela que hoy tenemos.
She's worked very hard for us to have the school that we have today.
En este momento contamos con nuestro laboratorio de STEAM.
At this time, we can count on having our STEAM lab.
Ella ha apoyado mucho a los grupos de padres como ILAC y nuestro programa de los dichos.
She's also strongly supported the parent groups, including ELAC and the Dichos program.
El cual el último está siendo muy exitoso en este momento.
The latter of which has been very successful up until now.
También ella ha apoyado mucho al grupo de padres que organiza la Universidad de Padres anualmente.
She's also been very supportive of the parent group that organizes Parent University every year.
Padres y alumnos, esperamos verla pronto en nuestra escuela. Gracias.
Both parents and students hope to see her back at our school soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. On deck is Fabian Torres.
Buenas noches. Good evening. I'm going to try to, I'm going to speak in Spanish, but my son is going to translate it for me because I feel more comfortable in Spanish. Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Adriana Torres. Yo pasé durante 10 años por la Escuela Las Ánimas. Soy madre de 3 niños que estuvieron ahí. Fabián, que está en el 10º grado en GECA, y ahora tengo 2 estudiantes, uno en 7º y otro en 6º grado en la Escuela South Valley. El motivo por el cual estoy aquí es para apoyar a la señora Reyes. Ella ha puesto varios programas que benefician a todos los niños de Las Ánimas. Durante todo este tiempo que estuve en Las Ánimas, siempre recibí un trato amable y positivo. Durante 5 años coordiné el programa Los Dichos, y tengo que decir que de no haber sido por el apoyo de la señora Reyes y los padres, el programa no tendría el éxito y el impacto que ahora tiene. Como madre y parte de ILAC, noté que todos nosotros podíamos contar con ella, y en nuestras juntas siempre estuvo presente. Durante estos 10 años me ha tocado ver una directora entregada a la escuela, buscando siempre los mejores maestros y personal para que la escuela tenga el éxito que hasta ahora tiene. Solo me queda decir que la señora Reyes se merece todo mi respeto y admiración, ya que viví un ambiente de armonía e inclusión para todos. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Good evening. My name is her name is Adriana Torres. She is a mother at and she's been at Las Animas for 10 years now. First with me, Fabian, who I am now in 10th grade at GECA, one who's in 7th grade and one who's in 6th grade at South Valley Middle School. And the motive for which she is here is to support Ms. Reyes. And she's put many various programs who have benefited lots of students at Las Animas. And during this time that we've been there, we've always had a kind and positive treating. During 5 years, my mother has coordinated the program Los Dichos, and has to say, without the support of Ms. Reyes and the parents, the program would not have the such impact on students and success. As mother and part of ELAC, she's noticed that we could count on her in our meetings, in which she would always attend. And during 10 years, she's seen a good director or principal dedicated to her school, looking for the best of teachers and personnel and students there. And the school has had a great success. The last thing she has to say is that Ms. Reyes deserves all the respect and admiration, and because she's had such a good time at the school, and she's included everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Now, Fabian, did you? Yeah. Okay. On deck is Cynthia Grace.
So, good night. My name is Fabian Martinez Torres, and I'm here to support Principal Reyes. I'm in 10th grade at GECA. I was a student at Las Animas 5 years ago, and during my time there, I would always see that Miss Reyes wanted the best for us. She would always take her time to look for the best way to support us and help us learn, would dedicate her time to go into classrooms and check in on our progress, would always stay in contact with parents to make sure that our learning was always the best and that we would have academic growth. And that's helped me and my siblings be the bright students we are today, and always look on the bright side of things and be outstanders thanks to her. And she's a really kind person, cares for her students, looks out for not only the students but also the personnel and the parents there, really tries to dedicate to the group meetings such as ELAC, Home and School Club, those dichos, and she's just a very dedicated person and loves what she does with her kids. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. On deck is Kim DeWitt.
Thank you, Board, for your time. I have 2 boys that are students at Las Animas Elementary. My oldest is a first grader, and my second son started kindergarten this year. In this school year, the first graders and the kindergartners are released at the same time, which was something new, but at different pickup locations at the school. And as a parent, I was concerned that my oldest son, being that he's only 6 years old, would be worried and nervous waiting for me to pick him up at his designated gate with all those other parents and the other kids, especially at pickup time. There's a lot of traffic and so forth. Since I had to pick up my kindergartner first at his gate, since he's the younger one. At the kindergarten orientation, I expressed my concerns to Mrs. Reyes, and she recognized my concerns, and she quickly implemented an exception for those students with younger siblings to have the older sibling walk to the youngest sibling's gate, as long as all of the teachers were aware of what was going on. And that night, she quickly explained the procedure to the teachers and made sure all the parents knew. And this information was given to us, all the parents, via email and text and written announcements that were sent home. And I just want to share that this is just one example of how Mrs. Reyes takes the parents' concerns into consideration, but also keeps the safety of the students a priority. And we really hope to see her back at our school very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On deck, I apologize, is this Renia Perez or Benia?
My name is Kimberly DeWitt. I'm a former parent at Los Animas, the former Home and School Club president for the last 2 years, and I've spent several thousands, yes, I said thousands, of hours volunteering at Los Animas since 2016. I've already previously submitted a 4-page letter to the superintendent, and I've been advised the board has already seen it. I am here to address the issue of Ms. Reyes' leave from Los Animas. I stand before you because I have been contacted by numerous parents, teachers, and staff. They continue to receive weekly emails about Ms. Reyes being on leave with little information thereafter. However, activities inside the school since the minute families were informed she was on leave would indicate a decision has already been made. The school community wants to know what is going on, and I ask that that information become public. Your response will be that it is confidential, but we say please release it because Mrs. Reyes' character and reputation is being trashed right now. And she and the students who look up to her and love her deserve better. The district should make it crystal clear to the public and specifically to the Los Animas school community that she has not committed a crime, that she has not harmed or neglected a child, that she did not come to work under the influence of alcohol or drugs. And I know that all seems foolish as we stand here right now, but that is what's going around. The continued silence by the district is allowing it to be perpetuated. For the district not to put an end to all the untruth is unconscionable. I hope that all the decisions you have made, possibly already made, or will make in the near future are based on the best interests of the students and families that you were elected to serve, and are not based on expediency, politics, or financial considerations, and that you are mindful that you are making a decision that affects someone's life and career, a person who has dedicated 33 years to this district. Principal Reyes is a flawed person who makes mistakes just like the rest of us, but her focus has always been on the children entrusted in her care. She and her school have received numerous awards through the years, be it the dual immersion program, the STEAM program, to name just a few. She has always looked to institute the best practices at Los Alamos and be a leader in an effort to provide her students and staff the best possible advantages inside and outside the classroom. And isn't that what we want in a principal? Someone who wants the best for our children's education is willing to make personal sacrifices to achieve it. Ask the kids, ask the families, ask the staff, look at the test scores. Think about what you saw with your own eyes when you visited the school. Her dedication and commitment to those kids and that school are unquestioned. Did she do everything perfectly? No. Did she make mistakes? Yes.
If you could wrap it up, please.
Yes. But everything she did with the students as her number one priority. President Pace, I'm going to ask your indulgence for about 20 more seconds so I can just finish my last paragraph, if that's all right.
Go ahead.
Please be open and honest with the families and the staff so their voices aren't silenced and they can make fully informed decisions on where they stand and not be forced to rely on the falsehoods and untruths being promulgated. As someone who spent nearly every day at Los Alamos over the last several years, I can tell you and the many people who have contacted me, we don't understand how we got here. We know the Los Alamos and Principal Reyes we and our children observed and experienced firsthand. Please do not be a rubber stamp. I implore you to do what is right, not what is easy, and make a decision that is in the best interest of the kids in the school. Principal Reyes is an excellent principal. They say you never know how good you have it until it's gone. Please don't do that to the Los Alamos school community. Thank you.
Thank you. On deck is Avelia Rosso. Ms. Perez first.
Oh. Hi, my name is Kenya Perez. I am from Rutgers School. My child attends in 5th grade at the moment. I'm a proud parent that came out from CAVE Project to Inspire. At the moment, I am here to present myself because I am working along with Parents Helping Parents from San Jose organization. They're a nonprofit organization. And my idea and my belief is that I would like to support the school district with special needs kids. We have a program that's called Social Boundaries at the moment that we would like to expand to the school district. And if we can, I am here for the support for those students. I am a proud parent of Gilroy Unified School District, and I would like to bring that kind of support here. At the moment, we are going to be opening an office next Monday on the 18th of November, and I would like to invite all of you to please come and assist for a light lunch. We'll be serving light sandwiches and also pozole. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Ms. Rosso.
No. I'm Avelia Ross. I never speak up here. Can you tell? Anyway, I'm here speaking up as a grandmother to a grandson with an IEP, and he was at Los Alamos School 4 years ago. And Sylvia Reyes was there. And my daughter, Sarah Rosa, could not be here. She did not know about the meeting here today. And I just want to let you know that I respect all the work that principals do, and yet observing, walking around I would say like, it was more like the January of that school year when my grandson was not doing very well, and my grandson was in kindergarten there with an IEP, and Sylvia Reyes did not, she did not respond to certain things that were going on in that kindergarten classroom, and the needs were not being met for a person with an IEP. And I just want to let you know that I saw a lot of more emphasis and more support in her part as a principal for the dual immersion. That is wonderful. Being a teacher, I appreciate that. I have no doubts about that. But when it comes to servicing my grandson that year, it was not good. As a matter of fact, we chose to have him repeat kindergarten because it was a lost case for being there at Las Animas kindergarten. We did not get much support at all. So I just want to let you know that I don't know what's going on altogether. It's very new to me. But I just want to let you know for my part as a grandmother, as a retired teacher, and my daughter Sarah could not be here, Sarah Rossobant. But just want to let you know that I'm just telling you our experience. I feel like at Las Animas, the big support is the dual immersion program. And it's wonderful. It's great. But when it came to that kindergarten classroom with my grandson 4 years ago, it was not good for all those kids in that classroom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This concludes general public comment. Now, item 4E, report of action taken in closed session. First up, we have several cases of removal, suspension, expulsion of a student. We'll begin with case 2020-01. What is the will of the board?
Move to expel.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
This is, let's see, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have case 2020-05. What is the will of the board?
Move to expel.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Me, yes. Opposed.
One nay. Is there further action?
I have a motion to suspend the expulsion.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the expulsion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Case 2020-06.
Move to expel.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One no. And is there a second motion?
I'd like to move to suspend this expulsion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Next, case 2020-07.
Move to expel.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And that is all the reportable action from closed session. Next up, item 5, student board member report. Welcome to the team, Ms. Lee, representing Mount Madonna High School and telling us about Glenview Elementary.
Thank you. Hey y'all, my name is Jasmine Lee. As you heard, I don't need that. I am a student
It's
at
being
Mount Madonna
recorded,
High
so you do.
School.
For the people at home.
Oh. I didn't know it was on TV.
But don't worry about that.
Okay, yes. My name is Jasmine Lee. I am a student at Mount Madonna High School, and I did a presentation with Glenview Elementary School and Mount Madonna High School. So, for the first day of school at Glenview, it was the smoothest first day for the first 3 years as Ms. Vasquez was principal. And this was the first year, she said, of her 3 years being the principal. This is her first year of having kindergartners that were actually prepared and went all clingy to their parents and everything. And she was proud of that. The next slide I have is current events. Current events they had during the school year was their Harvest Festival, where she had, we had no school that day, but she wanted the students to feel safe that day, so she had them come in, do arts and crafts, and some students were able to wear their costumes if they wanted to. And then the next one is a Snow Queen. She said that was a play that all the students loved and they were interested in, that she had 60 students participate.
Wow.
The next slide, one of her most proud moments was having, being one of the first schools to have 100% free lunch and brunch for students who weren't able to afford food. She is also positive of the unity on campus, that she calls it her mini Mount Madonna.
future events that she's looking forward to. She's looking forward to the Royal Kings Academy coming and teaching her students dances such as waltz, hip hop, and country. All right. Oh, now it's time for Madonna. Okay. So back to school night. Back to school night was September 24th. Lots of parents and students attended this. ASB sponsored nachos for families. We raffled prizes for families. And also community agencies joined us. Student recognition's first quarter award ceremony was October 28th. Cycle 1 and 2 attendance recognitions were in September and October. The 3 A's, attendance, academics, and attitude. Breakfast recognition is in November on the 8th. Next. So student leadership. We did fundraisers, careers, spirit weeks. We're trying to get our prom, student activities, and guest speakers. Yes, I forgot his name. Yes, I forgot his name, but he gave a good speech about the Navy. He make me want to be a barista. And then that picture, that's on Throwback Thursday. That was during Spirit Week. I think that was Miss Padilla's favorite day. Our future events is the Thanksgiving feast on November 21st. And then the ASB event, Winter Wonderland, December 16th through the 20th. And then we have a pancake breakfast on December 19th. Okay, that's the
And Jasmine, before you leave, congratulations. Jasmine has met all the requirements for graduation.
All right.
Yes. You can.
You did an excellent job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Follow that, Superintendent Flores.
Yeah, I know. Really. It's not easy. Okay. Is it up? All right. So it's been a really busy 2 weeks. I say that every time, and it gets busier every 2 weeks. So I had the chance to go to the Gilroy High Homecoming Parade. I ride in it every year. It's always a lot of fun. James joined us on a week. Of course, you can see us. We're on the golf cart with the principal, and it was a fun event. A lot of kids participated, and a lot of people from the community participated. I can't announce the name, I guess, of Melanie sworn me to secrecy, but on October 22nd at Los Animas, one of our teachers received a top secret award that we can't announce until Thanksgiving. So we will be recognizing her at an upcoming board meeting. It was very cool. We got to go, and we got to see her receive the award. It was a lot of fun.
Well, what's the teaser for?
I can't tell you.
You shouldn't have told us.
October 23rd, every year when the Chamber announces all the awards, it's a lot of fun because Mark Turner and I get to go out to the schools and announce who's received the award. So on October 23rd, we went out to GECA, and it was fun because the student in the middle, Jane Tovar, is the Susan Valenta Youth Leadership Award winner this year, which is a very prestigious award, and her whole family came. It was so cool to have them surprise her. Well, we all surprised her, but it was really cool to have her family there. And as you know, on February 1st, the Chamber event, the Spice of Life event this year will be in Morgan Hill. She'll be recognized at that event. I attended a parent-teen safety presentation at Gilroy High on October 23rd in the evening, and it was a really impactful presentation, especially so because Natalia Salcido's parents came and spoke. And the whole presentation is one of those tearjerkers where you can't even imagine losing a child from distracted driving. It's just hard to even fathom. But anyways, it was well attended by, I thought, for Wednesday night with everything else that was going on. The Elliott Harvest Festival was the next night, which I always try to attend every year. It's a great event. I mean, literally hundreds of family and children come out to this event. It was very well attended. We had our monthly meeting with the mayor and city administrators, so the three of us meet with them once a month, and as always, it's a great time for us to share back and forth what's going on in our jurisdictions. On October 29th, I was invited to this gun violence community presentation by supervising Deputy District Attorney from the Crime Strategies Unit, and I can't repeat most of it because it's too technical about guns, but it was kind of depressing to hear the statistics about guns in our county. And it was a diverse group of us. About 20 of us had been invited to attend. So Kathleen Rose and I were there as, K through community college representatives. But it was a very interesting presentation. It's not my world. I don't know anything about guns. But boy, did I learn a lot about how difficult it is to get rid of them and get them out of the wrong hands, unfortunately. And the most distressing part of the evening was she showed on her PowerPoint how anyone can go on the internet and buy parts to an AK-47 and assemble it on their own. So, those people don't go through the process of a screen and, getting whatever you get, a license for a gun. So I didn't know what I was attending, but I learned a lot. The following night, we had our joint meeting with City Council. It was very well attended by City Council members and the school board, and we shared a lot of information back and forth. That's a mutual interest to us, and we do this quarterly throughout the year. The following day, we had our first Brownell Middle School walkthrough of the rebuild of Brownell, and we had been seeing on a weekly basis videos of the rebuild, but it was great to actually stand there and see the beginning of this project. It is really going to be a great project. Once we get to this stage, we do the walkthroughs every month, so you're all invited anytime. Two of our facility members were there, Linda and BC, and Mark was able to join us, which is great. You're welcome any month that we go on the walkthroughs. I'll always let you know about it. It's great to watch the progression of construction from this stage where they've just finished everything underground and now they're starting to pave, getting ready really for the rainy season. They're trying to do everything they need to do before it rains. And then by next spring, the buildings will be in, and this is the 7th and 8th grade pods. So it's very exciting, and we'll be seeing that on a monthly basis. We had a staff development day last week, and I was able to get to all 3 sites where staff development was being held. And I think our staff development just gets better and better every year. There are a lot of really good workshops, a lot of learning, and I was impressed with the amount of hands-on learning this year. It was really great to see that happening. All our principals were out at the workshop, so it was great to see our staff so engaged in learning, their own learning, which will benefit our students, of course. And then, as I mentioned, the Chamber recognized the student who will be receiving an award on Monday, and she was here earlier. I should have mentioned it, but Donna Klein, who's a longtime kindergarten teacher at Elliott, will be the Educator of the Year, and we're really, really proud of her. She's just a great, great kindergarten teacher. I've been in her classroom many, many times. She was totally shocked. She had no idea. We walked into a staff meeting, so they all looked at me like, uh-oh, the superintendent's here, why? It's too bad that kind of reaction occurs, but anyway, this was a positive one. And the whole staff was just so thrilled, and Maricela, of course, the principal. And then today we had our first day of Rock the Mock at Christopher High. It went so well. We had about 100 students and about almost 50 interviewers. And what's great about Rock the Mock, this is a great partnership between the Chamber and the district, and all these members of our community come out and participate in a mock interview with the students. And I love it because many of them walk away saying, oh my God, you have the most amazing students in this district, and I love that. So tomorrow we'll be doing it at Gilroy High. This is our 6th year of Rock the Mock. What happens is the students attend 3 workshops. One's called Dress for Success, another's How to Prepare for an Interview, and the third is your social media footprint. And all 3 were excellent. The kids were even saying to me as they walked by, really good workshops. And then the culminating event is after they've been through that workshop rotation, they participated in a mock interview with a community member, business member, and overall the ratings were very good from the students. And actually, we debriefed with all the community partners afterwards, and I thought the debrief today was very good. What they'd like us to do is expand what we're doing and make it an even bigger deal, which is kind of, they want to broaden our scope. So we will talk about it as a committee. Our committee meets monthly, the Business Ed Committee. And then rather than mention all the site visits, because I did a bunch, because I couldn't do them for a couple weeks because of my knee, so I tried to make it up and visited a lot of sites, and all of the visits were really good. I'm just so impressed what's happening in our classrooms. We have great staff everywhere. Teachers are implementing all of the initiatives and using the textbooks, and we're seeing really good things. We did start this next round, the fall and spring. I do the site visits with the principal, and board members sometimes join me, like BC joined me at El Roble. In the middle of the year, in the winter, we do what we call our APS visits, and that's basically where we use a tool that we've developed over many years now. Most of the sites have tailored it to their own site, and the Ed Services team and I spend a few hours going through classrooms with the instrument. So we started the first APS visit at Brownell this week. So those are not visits the board members will go on, because we have a team of 7 or 8 of us already there going through classrooms. And then you can see upcoming, we're doing the middle schools first, and then we're moving on to elementary for the APS visits. And that concludes my report. I'll go back to that picture. As you know, our union president attends our board meetings, Lindsay Hack, with her daughter, Edie. And Edie's become very interested in my leadership, which is very cool. So we looked for a book that we could give her on my site visit to Rod Kelly. When was that? Last spring. And Melanie found this great book. I absolutely love it. It's about 14 young women. And we gave it to Edie in her classroom. And I talked to her class about her. So we decided to give every one of the elementary schools a book. And so on my site visits, I've been delivering the book, and I'm hoping that they'll all be reading it with their students, or their students in classrooms will be reading it, boys and girls, because they're great role models, these 14 young women. And that concludes my report.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. This brings us to the consent agenda. First, we're going to do items 7A and 7B. I will entertain a motion for those.
Move approval.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Other motions?
Abstain.
Abstentions? Okay, and then items 7C through M. I will entertain a motion.
Move approval.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. And item 8A, Annual Developer Fee Report for 2018-19. Ms. O'Connor.
Good evening, Dr. Flores and members of the board. I'm here this evening to present the 2018-2019 Annual Developer Fee Report. And the arrow. Oh, thank you. The first slide, this is a chart graphing what we have brought in on developer fees since 2006. And last year, on 2018-2019, we brought in $2,790,000. This year, so far, we have brought in $171,624, though I am projecting a couple of large checks this month from developers. And thank you. This is how this slide shows how we spent the $2,790,000. Plus, we had $54,000 in interest. The majority of the money was spent with the certificates of participation, principal and interest payment of $1,769,950. And a small amount went to Las Animas and Rucker. And then the majority of it went to the completion of the Gilroy High School math building. We have some furniture, $190,644, and then Premier Builders, $447,197, and then miscellaneous fees, and then some contract services, for a total expenses of $2,499,315. Ending balance of $3,252,096. Thank you. The last slide shows the 2018-2019 summary of the previous slide and what our projections are for first interim 19-20 budget. So we are budgeting $2 million at this point for developer fees, and that can be projected down or up. And the main items that we're going to expense for the 19-20 fiscal year is the $42,500, which is for some Gilroy High School lab furniture. And then the other operating expenses would be like enrollment projection, contracting, enrollment projection, and then the developer fee study. And then, of course, the majority of it also would be our certificate of participation, principal, and interest payment of $1,764,600. So we would have an ending balance of $3,433,902. And that concludes it. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Any questions? Mr. Good.
Mr. Good.
I have a question on the revenue, the projected revenue. What's the basis for that? How do we establish what we think we're going to get in revenue?
I think we base it on past years and then the completion of the developments and the projects that we have coming forward.
So we're looking at things that are actually in the hopper.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can this money be used for anything that we want?
Like
no. Salaries?
No. Trustee pays. No.
Let's let the public know that
no.
This can only be used for capital items?
Yes, it can. Yes.
I told you couldn't trick her.
No.
Trustee Diaz.
What is a COP? Can you describe that?
It's a certificate of participation.
Okay.
It's essentially a credit card. No, it's not like a loan. It's like a credit card loan.
So we're repaying that?
Yes.
In layman's terms, that's absolutely what it is. It's a debt instrument, a financial debt instrument that, other than a general obligation bond, which we have, thanks to the generosity of the voters who supported that, when the district doesn't pursue that vehicle of issuing debt, it has the ability to then issue essentially private debt, which is just borrowed money. And it's like a credit card. So there's interest and principal associated with that. And I believe it goes all the way through 2040.
40, 42.
So is that?
I'll still be here paying the bill, hopefully.
So why doesn't it appear then in the next year, in this current year that's coming up? So it's not the same payment every year, or?
We refinanced it, and it's that $1.7 million essentially.
That one. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and it is fixed. We refinanced it maybe a couple of years ago, and we save about $200,000 to $300,000, I think, annually. It used to be well over $2 million with a graduated step.
What's so important for all of you to remember, because some of us won't be around, some of us, that we have to first, we pay it out of developer fees. And there was a time in 2007, I think, when our developer fees were actually not enough to make the payment. And when that happens, it comes out of the general fund. That's always the worry about that COPS payment, which the district took out for good reasons to finish Christopher High way back when. But, well, I wasn't here, so I can't tell you back when the COPS...
Not everybody voted in favor of that.
Oh, really? What year was that, Mark?
2008 to 2009 is when there was a dip.
Yeah, and I've also voted against them in the 90s. I think it's a bad way to generate income.
I don't like COPS. I wouldn't have recommended it, but I don't like to. There are obviously reasons the district decided to do it then.
Regardless,
so
we
that
have
we
the
could
debt.
build the high school. So we have it, and we got to pay it off, and it's coming out of developer fees, and we're going to hope that the developer fees will always be enough to pay it. Otherwise, it'll come out of the general fund.
And, okay. Yeah, that was it. Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Any other questions?
Then we are to accept the 2018-19 Annual Development Fee Report. Who wants to move to accept it? It's an information item. So we accept it. That just means, thank you very much. Really, I know what I'm doing. All right, 8B, proposed elementary boundary adjustments to implement the ADB school closure.
Thank you, Trustee Pace. Good evening, Board. Good evening, Superintendent, members of the public. Before I start tonight, and Mr. Ron is here with Decision Insight, but I'd like to just say a few words about this important item, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the three principals that were here, starting with, of course, Velia, the principal of ADB, Jean, principal of Rucker, and of course, Michael, principal of Luigi. I've had the pleasure of working individually with them. Now, on their own, they're great leaders, but together, man, do we have a powerhouse team. They're really looking out for the community, for more importantly, our students, and each of them have the best interests of our kids as welcoming them into their respective schools, and of course, Velia making sure that it's a clean handoff to both Luigi and Rucker. So I just want to, it's tremendous credit to them and their leadership that I hope to continue working with them on this difficult transition, as difficult as it is. But one of the key steps, of course, you've been hearing about how tough, of course, ADB closure is on our team and our students, but we quickly established a district transition team, focused solely on the various tasks associated with that. And the district transition team then created a subgroup of folks, Mr. Winslow, Kathleen Bierman, and I, and worked directly with Decision Insight, our demographer who's here, and really utilized those state-of-the-art tools to really look at potential boundary adjustments. So tonight's presentation is precisely that, looking at what boundary adjustments do we need to make to accommodate. Really, we're looking at about 312 resident students at Antonio Del Bono that then would need to be housed at Luigi and Rucker, respectively. Now, you'll remember that Luigi has about 11 classrooms that could be used for classroom usage that are currently being used for other purposes. And then at Rucker, we have about up to 5. Now, it is not our intent to fully tap into every single space because that would be not optimal for those sites. So you'll hear a lot about the boundary adjustments, but then, of course, towards the latter part of the presentation, we'll pin down exactly how many students we project to go to each site. And our intention is to leave, of course, at least one room available for each site to just have a room for a different purpose. So without further ado, this is Ron from Decision Insight. He'll begin walking you with the background of Decision Insight, and then we'll get into the specifics of the boundary adjustments.
Mr. President, Superintendent Flores, members of the board, members of the community, my name is Ron Van Orden. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Decision Insight. It's our privilege to be able to work for the district. We know these are very challenging things to do, and we've really very much enjoyed working with your staff to try to provide you the best, most accurate, and most capable tools to evaluate this boundary adjustment. So I'll tell you a little bit about the services that we provide the district for some context. We do generate 2 10-year enrollment forecasts that are by school, by grade, and then we also have the capability to project students geographically, which we'll see here in some later slides. And that's really a crucial component when you're looking at a boundary adjustment because you're modifying those attendance boundaries, so you want to look at that impact to ensure that any boundary adjustment is going to be viable for not just right now, but for a 5 or 10-year future, so you don't run into issues in the future. A little bit about our company. We work with 190 districts nationally. Over 100 are here in California. We're a California company, and we've worked with districts. The largest we worked for was Houston ISD, which is over 212,000 students, and we work with districts that are 1,500 students. So all kinds of different districts with both growing, but more often now here, especially in California, with declining enrollment. Here's a look at the current elementary school boundaries, and there is a legend that you can see. Hard to see on this map. As you know, your district boundary does extend quite a bit to the east and west. A lot of that is not areas where students live, but that is the actual geographic boundary for your district. And here's a little bit of a closer view where these are your current elementary school boundaries and with the labeling for the different school sites. So just I'm just going to touch on this. I won't get into this too deep, but our mapping tools, what it allows you to do, and if I go back one, you can see those plots are students, and those plots may represent at least one student, but they may represent more than one if you have homes with siblings, for example. And the boundary tools allows us to take any of those boundaries and then move them, and it updates the counts, and then we are able to project that forward. And this slide here explains that a little bit further. We take that, those plotting data does come from your student information system, so it comes from your data, and we go through a process called geocoding, which just takes an address and then puts it on the map. And we have a SFTP, which is a secure transfer, so we're able to get that data updated weekly. So we're not using data from 6 or 9 months ago. It's updated, so we have the most current and up-to-date student plotting data. So if we zoom in on some of the neighborhoods, we have ADB there, which is the school that has been discussed. And the task was then to accommodate those students in Luigi and Rucker. And so we went through a process of you can see we can zoom all the way in even to a satellite image with those plots. And this slide, I did want to touch on this. So the enrollment projections are based on where the students attend school, not where they're zoned. The geographic area projections, which you'll see in later slides here, are based on the geography, and it's essentially a geographic area query is what we're doing, but it's querying the underlying projection work that we did. So that's a lot of fancy words, but what that means is the technology is looking at the area that you're going to modify, and essentially it's going to tell us whether or not that area is expected to keep growing or decline or stay stable, which is what we want to know if we're going to modify a boundary. We want to make sure that we're not going to find ourselves in a situation where you have a capacity challenge 3 or 5 years later. You want to make sure that proposed boundary is viable. So here's a zoomed out look at the new proposed elementary school boundaries. And did you want to speak to this at all?
Thank you, Ron. So we took great care, and we meaning the sub-district transition team committee, in looking at the boundary, as Ron mentioned, not just for the short-term view, but really using the lens of the 10-year projection, making sure that whatever boundary modification we would make, that it would be a good one, that it wasn't going to outpace the growth or be unbalanced, if you will, for the school site going forward. So what we have recommending is that for Luigi, this will be the new boundary for Luigi starting next school year. And you'll note that the top portion of Luigi, which I can zoom in, so the entire area will be the new Luigi boundary, which effectively takes the southern part of ADB and then grabs that northern area where the Sunrise Apartments is. And
when you say the entire area, you mean the denoted by the blue line, right?
Yes. So it would be all this area here. Effectively, this is the current ADB boundary, so it would take all this area, and then this top portion, which we'll get to in a minute, would then become Rutgers.
I'm sorry, I couldn't see where you were pointing.
Yeah.
Up northern top. Oh, they can't see. I'm sorry. Thank you, Elliot. Thank you. You principals do this often. So this would be the new Luigi area for next year. The modifications to Luigi that we're recommending is to grab this part. As I understand, there's about a total of 60 kids or so in total that are incorporated in this area. However, about half of them already attend Luigi because they've made a request to transfer into Luigi, simply because they were within walking distance, truthfully, of that campus. So this was just historical perspective that I've learned, is that this is generally a new developing area, and so when the boundary was established a long time ago, at that point it made sense that the line would be here because nothing was there. It was just backing up to essentially just land. But since then, of course, it has been developed, and now it no longer makes sense for that to be Rutgers' boundary, and a lot of these families have already been incorporated and welcomed to Luigi.
For everyone's reference, that's Sunrise, right?
Yes, Sunrise.
North of Sunrise area.
Yes, thank you, Trustee Pace. And the other component that we're looking at that's of significance is, of course, grabbing this area, which is about 200 students or so, right along here, incorporating into the Luigi area. If you dot a 1 mile radius, that would probably be around this area. And 1 mile nautical area, it means because it's we have a 1 mile walking distance for the elementaries. And then we'll zoom in on what the total new enrollment projection, so you can see with this slide, essentially modifies that Sunrise area. It includes it, so this effectively plots and projects next year's enrollment at Luigi Aprea. So currently the enrollment at Luigi Aprea is 584, and we gain 204 students essentially next year. Now remember, this is projecting already Luigi for next year, so it's a net 204 increase. So Luigi is expected, without any modifications, to continue to decline because of the homes and the resale value there is actually quite high in that neighborhood. And those houses have to be essentially sold and resold with new families coming in, and we know what the birth rates look like. So the long-term projections for Luigi without any modifications is that it will decline. And we were really looking to see pretty stable 784, 780, 790. Obviously, it's a projection, but even the 10-year window looks like it's, if anything, going to decline, continue to decline. Again, we're looking at the birth rates, student generation rates, the lack of new development activity in this area. All that points to either flat or actually decline. And that's just the top. Yes.
So you're projecting a 788 next year?
Yes, correct.
With the
new all-in, right, all students in. And so that would be probably 8 or 9 classrooms that we're looking at. And so because there are 11 there, we feel that that's a good range for us to have.
But it says without SDC, correct?
Yes, yes, correct.
They're already there. They're already in classrooms.
Right. And the STC students from ADB, it's about 2 classrooms that we need for them.
And we are going to come back to you later and talk about where the 3 special programs will be located. So there's 2 SDC classes, 2 TK classes, and 2 special ed preschool classes.
Right.
We're still talking in cabinet about that. We've talked 3 weeks in a row about it. We're very close to deciding where they're going.
So those programs are not necessarily attendance area dependent.
No.
No. Good point.
No.
Good point.
What I was confused about.
So what we were targeting is to find a home for the resident kids of Antonio Del Bono. So you can see that this is really what we were looking for, is to establish boundary adjustment that would look stable long term. And I think we've done that part. And here's what I was referring to. If you were just to look at the students plotted here and projected for the next 10 years, they're in the 60 range. We start at the higher range, but again, I want to emphasize half of them are already there. Half of them are already attending Luigi Aprea.
Would those students who are currently in that area who go to Rucker would they have an option of which school to go to, or would they stay at Rucker until they promoted?
Yeah, we haven't talked about that, but that would be something that obviously we would take into account. We wouldn't want to displace somebody that's already going to Rucker, because that's already into their count.
Okay.
And this is what we call East Luigi Annex, just as a point of reference. So here, it's when you're grabbing, and you can say, well, you told me the net was 210. Again, that's the net, because it also includes Luigi's projections for next year. And again, I want to reemphasize it because of our birth rates. This is across the elementary. It's nothing new. For the last 4 years, we've declined over 400 kids in the elementary. We expect that trend to continue. So that's why you can see, well, this graph that shows 224, how is the total 210? That's because Luigi's boundary on its own would have declined.
Wait a minute, go back there. Explain that to me again.
So this says that over the next 10 years, just the students projected to come out of this new, essentially, if we just want to isolate that on the East Luigi Annex, right, we're going to generate 224 students. Right. But when you look at what Luigi is now, 584, and where they're projected all in, new boundary and all, next year, 788, that's only a difference of 204. That's because despite the addition of 224, they're declining on their own right now. So the projection for 2020 takes into account the decline plus this new. So we ended up with only a 210. So that means that we're losing about 14 kids or so in total.
So that's still like almost a 50% increase, which is pretty sizable change to a school. So it's not just 204; it's a big change. I'm surprised you guys didn't go with lines like just go up Bren and bring in all the other northernmost students from this side and really try to keep them geographically close to their school sites.
Again, we wanted to balance because we're constrained with the capacity at Luigi. It's a lot greater than the capacity that's available at Rutgers, so that was key, number one. And number two, we wanted to make sure that this had some kind of stability long term, and this achieved that. And as this part over here, I think this is Kern coming up here. This is Wren, I believe, going up there. So we took great care in looking at major roadways, intersections, and obviously it's a difficult task to see where you're going to draw the line. But we try to achieve, number one thing was stability on the long-term enrollment projections, and have it be so that we use the major roadways as a natural separation with major care of establishing essentially two new boundaries that were going to be stable for the respective schools.
And I'm kind of looking at the same thing. I'm looking at the major roadways, especially students crossing major roadways and being able to have safe routes to school is kind of what I'm thinking as well. And I see the density. I see the density here, over here in the East Luigi Annex. And I mean, it's something you'd have to plot for sure. I'm just eyeballing it here, but you can, if you set that aside and they go to Rucker, then you bring in all these other students over here, and right there where Wren is at, it starts bringing in, and that empty space there, that's most likely where housing is going to come in at some point. It's pretty sparse right now. They're ideas. They're just throwing ideas out as well.
Most of the dots are to the east of Wren, though. I mean, that's by far the biggest thing. And just because that confused me a little bit, that southern boundary is an existing line. That's the Rod Kelly boundary.
Correct.
So that is not changed by this at all.
No, not at all. So the new, quote-unquote, new line, right, is this piece right here.
Yeah.
So that's the
And if you didn't take it all the way over there to Monterey Road, you wouldn't capture enough kids.
Right, and then we will be impacting Rucker more than they have room for.
Right. It'd be pretty close. I mean, I can see the density spots there. I know what's trying to be portrayed, but if you give those away, you bring in some other ones over here, and you bring in all these over here that are northernmost, and you keep them on the west side of Santa Teresa as well, which also makes it very close to they stay on the same side of a major roadway on their way to Luigi, is what I'm saying as well. You guys probably looked at it as well, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay, so this would be the new Rucker. I mean, Rucker, again, I think Ron mentioned it. It looks massive, same as Las Animas, but it just covers a lot of terrain, really. So it's just a geographical mammoth boundary. But there's really, there's a lot, they're spread out, very rural. That's why walking to the campus can be challenging sometimes. But this would be essentially the new proposed boundary for next school year. And this would be the total enrollment for Rucker, of course. And I can flip a page and get you the total for Rucker. Rucker's current enrollment is 563. So next year we'll be looking at 673, 110 increase as well. That would leave them with at least one classroom that walking the site with Principal Sullivan. We've targeted which one she would like to retain for other uses, and I think we can make that work given this scenario. And so that's the projection alone on that one part. So you can see, even though it looks like it's a small area, it does generate about 130 kids or so. And it's, again, the key is here is it's pretty stable. It stays around there, and that's really top priority for us, to create stable modifications to boundaries so that we know we can sustain them.
What's the initial ratio of students going to Rucker versus Luigi?
It's about 2-to-1 ratio.
So like 66% are going to Luigi?
No, two to Luigi. For every 3 kids, 2 go to Luigi and 1 to Rucker.
So 66% going to...
Right. And we had to make that work because we had 11 here and 5 there.
Which is their classroom
right
ratio. So, okay, I did not hear 629. That's because that's what I see for 2020 for Rucker, right? The total for Rucker is 629.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Oops. Went too fast. You're right. It's not 673. I looked at the capacity. It's 629. You're right. So it's a lot less, and that's an important distinction.
It doesn't take much to confuse me tonight when I'm looking at this.
And then it's, again, because Rucker's rural, I guess you see those effects. It's just the birth rate, and, those houses just don't get resold, so it's flattening. It's not declining.
Sure I'm looking at the right thing.
Right. Thank you. Important point. Thank you. And that's, again, the projection that we already revisited, and we're open for questions.
Sure. Just in the interest of making sure this is fully understood, so the geographic, there are some assumptions in that geographic area projection, right? So it doesn't account for things like policy decisions that you as a district might choose to implement while these boundaries are being implemented, such as you have a sibling that goes to this one school, we're going to allow you, or the choice options you may have. So just, we see those numbers there, and that may fluctuate depending on how you implement the boundaries. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you for the presentation. We appreciate it. Board, do you have any further questions or whatnot? Trustee Pisano.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, Debbie, but with 788, 788 at a prayer, then they're not necessarily open for additional programs that are not attendance area related.
Actually, we're not planning to put any programs at either of the schools.
Right.
Because this is going to take them up close to capacity, although Luigi had close to 900 not that long ago. So they could handle more kids. But we didn't want to take all their classrooms. We want to leave some space. So the special programs will not be located there. Actually, there's really only 2 schools that have the space for the special programs, and that's what we've been talking about in cabinet.
Seeing no further discussion, this is an action item.
And the reason that you heard earlier why it's important, we really want to get going on bringing the 2 schools together. It's like the December, what is it, Michael, event for parents, 6th. And parents and staff are asking, how are these two, how's the school going to be divided? So we think we need to do that sooner than later. So that's why we put it on for action.
All right, well, then I will entertain a motion.
Move approval?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We have a new boundary.
Thank you, Governing Board. Thank you.
All right. Next, item 8C.
You don't
GUSD College Readiness, AP and College Readiness. You don't have to leave. Your kids will be taking AP tests one of these years. Mr. Schrock.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Remember Kermit, 3 minutes.
Okay, yeah, I think Mr. Mesa took some of my time there, if I was calculating correctly.
Thank you. Thanks, principals.
Thank you all.
Principals.
Others, all staff for coming.
Well, that cleared out fast.
I feel like I cleared out the room here. I don't know.
Nobody here but us chickens.
What's going on, guys?
It's
All right.
not you, Kermit, really.
Good evening, Dr. Flores, President Pace, members of the board. I am here this week to talk about some more testing data. This time we're going to look particularly at college readiness data, look at our district advanced placement tests, SATs from the past years, PSATs for the 10th graders, and now actually we've been doing PSATs for the 8th graders. I think it was just a couple weeks ago, right? That the 8th graders took it again or this week, right? That took it for the second year. And then look at some of our college going data. All right, so start out with the advanced placement tests. So these are the college level classes that students are taking at high school, mostly at the 11th and 12th grade level, although there are some classes open to 10th graders, the advanced placement world history in particular, as well as some of the other classes, students advanced placement Spanish is another one that some students will take at the 10th grade level. This past year, the overall passage rate of passage, not really a technical term, but kind of considered a 3 or higher on a scale of 1 to 5. The students can score. General number that colleges look at, that schools look at to kind of evaluate success is a 3, 4, or 5 on the test. Although that's each college, as many of you who have kids who have gone to college know, consider that differently, right? In some cases, a 3 can count for credit. Sometimes a 4 count for credit. In some cases, none of those count for credit, just entry, right? So it depends on the college and how they look at those. And the passage rate maintained at right around 45% in this past year. The next 2 slides, then we're going to see all of the test data for test by test of those exams that were given in Gilroy Unified. I'm not going to go through all of them, so if something stands out, you can see I clumped them together by subject. So here on this page, we can see the first 4 there are the sciences, then the junior and senior English classes, and then the social sciences there. If you look at the sciences first in particular, you can kind of see that some of the numbers vary by year. Sometimes there'll be enough students for an AP biology class or an AP chemistry class. Sometimes it depends on staffing availability as well. So some of those things have to do. What we have seen, though, is a shift in particular in the increase in the physics, the AP physics, and that is by way of the fact that now we're requiring all students to attempt biology freshman year, chemistry sophomore year, and then take physics junior year, which wasn't a requirement for all students in the past. So then many students are opting to have AP Physics be that junior level AP class. So then in most cases, that AP Bio, AP Chem, or AP Environmental Science really is left as those kind of options for the senior year in the most part. And then that will vary depending on the year and students interested in taking those further science classes.
So Kermit, so they would take regular bio their freshman year and then Chem, Physics, and then AP Bio?
AP Bio.
So that explains why there's only 2.
Right.
I was wondering about the bio
this
numbers.
So this year, there was not an AP Bio class offered.
Right.
You can see the previous year there was. There were a couple of years there was no AP Chem, but then there was an AP Chemistry offered. There were 2 students. Those, I can't speak, I think those might have been GECA students taking a bio class at college level and want to take the class. I don't know if it was, that's my guess, but. What's that?
Freshman.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. So there'll be some of those. You'll see the same thing down at the psychology class there, where there wasn't a class offered this year at any of the schools.
And
I did want to say that this is data from the three high schools, Christopher High, Gilroy High, and GECA, that offer a variety of different advanced placement courses at the three schools.
English Lit is the third one besides bio and psych that the numbers seem to have dropped significantly.
Say that again.
English Lit, the three that I was looking at in terms
Correct.
of numbers, bio, psych, and English Lit.
Exactly. Right. So the English literature, right, if you look at those previous years, there has been a real reduction. Sometimes there's some transition in staffing that'll make those variations happen. Those numbers are back up a little bit this year now for the 1920 school year. So those are definitely the kind of things we're watching as well.
Is it kind of same, maybe that same case with English literature? So these are combined to high school, so it could be that one of the high schools, because it's almost halved, so it might be that one of the high schools wasn't offering them?
Right. There have been years where maybe if there weren't enough students signed up, that maybe they'll rotate the language and the literature, the 11th and 12th grade. That has happened in previous years. So some of those things will be the variances that happen from year to year. And then coming down to the psychology, that was one that actually was a new course that was offered for a number of years. We had the luxury that there was a teacher that was also an English teacher that was also prepared in psychology, was able to offer that elective AP class, and that was actually one that was, we saw some nice numbers and some fairly good success rate. You can see the success percentages there. That teacher left the district, and we can't just go out and hire a teacher to teach 1 or 2 periods of AP Psych. So sometimes it does vary on those kind of things. Who are the staff that we have and what they're able to offer in those, especially those elective courses.
So can I ask from an instructional standpoint, you take a look at these numbers and then what do you do with it? So for instance, like physics, you have a very small percent of people passing with a 3 or higher.
Right. So you can see, correct, you can see in those earlier years when there was some smaller number, it might have been a bit higher pass rate, but you can see that is a very tough one. We're having more kids try the test, not getting that 3 or higher. So there's a couple things. Those teachers are able to get that data, see where those students were able to, which ones are able to succeed and not. But we still have a real strong belief, and this is in colleges across the country, that it's important that students attempt advanced placement classes. Now the question is, what's the right number of advanced placement classes for students to attempt? But that's a high predictor of success in college, not only attempting the class, but attempting the test. And so all of our schools emphasize students attempting the test, even if they maybe aren't going to be able to get that 3. A student says, I didn't understand, sitting for the test, thinking my job is to prepare myself to do the best I can. Those are the kind of predictors of success. And colleges often want to see that students didn't just take a class, took AP class, didn't take any of the tests. Mm-hmm. They want to see, even if that score was a 1, that they sat and took those. So it's valuable, and then it's also information for the teacher to then reflect on, those next steps too.
Then I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Can I also ask, do you happen to know, and I just heard someone speak about this, so for students, do you happen to know, like, the average student, how many AP courses they take? Like, the students that take AP courses?
Right, so I'm gonna just jump ahead 2 slides then. So here on this slide, we kind of see the total number of students that were enrolled in courses, and here we can see, and we see a decrease, which we noted in some of those courses that had some decrease this past year. So 1,500 taking tests, which represent around 900 students. So figure an average, we have some students taking 4 or 5 AP courses, and we have a lot of students taking 1. So is that average around 2 perhaps, right? But you'll see any range there, right? Okay. Yeah.
Could you remind us what is our grade point policy on AP classes?
Right. So the AP classes all are as an honors class, give an extra point to the GPA. So then an A, which is normally worth a 4.0, is worth a 5.0. However, the requirement is that to get that extra point, they need to sit for the test. And so that's also kind of a backdoor motivator, right, to say you're in this class, and if you're in it for also the GPA, another reason SIP doesn't, apart from the fact that it just helps set a tone in the class that everybody in the class is preparing for the test. We had some years in the past where, I'm trying to go back at the same time I talk to you, can't do it. We had some years where it wasn't emphasized, and then the problem was that half the class was kind of checked out for those last months of school. So I'm not sitting for the test. The teacher's trying to create an emphasis on the test. So having policies like that really encourage a culture of the class to say, no matter how we're doing, we are all in this together. So
along those same lines, I think they're committing earlier to taking the test, right?
Yeah,
Like now,
it was actually earlier this year than ever, right? I think just this month, right?
Like they just committed, like
it was last month.
Like in the last week or
Right,
so.
exactly.
Yeah.
I had to write that check. Yeah, that was moved up.
Yes, the deadline actually now is November. So
Yeah.
that is not our change,
Yeah.
our policy change. That is College Board that has changed that policy. So they want people to commit, which is in fact a challenge for us, mainly because of our economics courses. So we have students who have to commit to taking the economics course when they don't even enter that economics course until January. So they don't even know what the course is before they are committing to take a test. So this is our first year of really having to move everything up in that deadline. So we are looking at the ins and outs. We also have the issue, and this is an issue at every high school, is that we do have students who will commit and then they do end up changing schools for whatever reasons. So they have paid for a test at one school, they may be going to another school where that's not offered. So there's a lot of kinks that we have to work out with the surrounding districts as well when it comes to these new requirements.
Deb, you mentioned paying for the test. How do we do that with kids?
So it is basically on a scale depending on the student. So students do, and I don't have the exact numbers, the prices have fluctuated a little bit.
97 was it this year?
I think that's right. So it has fluctuated a little bit because the College Board has changed the prices. So we do have students that pay full price. Then we also have the price which is much reduced for our free and reduced. We also do put money in from the district to support the students. Currently in our LCAP plan, we have $25,000 going toward AP support for students that cannot afford the tests, and that ranges for students that cannot match the free and reduced cost, as well as for students that are taking 4 or 5 tests, which gets very expensive, or families with multiple children all taking tests at the same time, where it becomes a financial burden for that family. So we do have systems at all of the high schools in place for that.
And what's the requirement these days in order to be able to take an AP class?
You want to work hard and you want to challenge yourself. That is the requirement. And actually those students tend to be very successful. And that's why a 3 isn't everything, because we may have students that may be even sometimes a little bit below grade level and they go into an AP class. If they score a 2, that's amazing, because that says that they're not only at grade level at that point, they're slightly above. So we encourage, and that's how this data is used by the teachers when they look at those scores, is not just who scored a 3 or above, but where their starting point was and where they are now, and celebrating those successes. That's also why the colleges emphasize that the data really is about who sits for the class and takes the class and who attempts the test. They get better results and they have less attrition at the college level for the students that participate in that program.
Asked that because, as you know, years ago we had prerequisites and all these requirements, and only certain kids took AP test, and that's still true in some districts. If we did that, our results would look different than this. But we firmly believe that if a student's willing to work hard and is motivated and wants to try college level material, they should be allowed to do it and encouraged to do it and supported in their enrollment in AP classes. Our participation rate has increased dramatically since we made that decision.
Right.
In that case, the national average really doesn't mean much.
It really
no, because
doesn't.
a lot of schools have prerequisites for AP classes.
And they let people not take the test?
Yes.
Correct. Correct. There are schools that will only have the students that they will guarantee that are going to get a 3,
Yes.
basically take the test. And that's not what this is supposed to be about. This is about helping students challenge themselves and find their strengths and find, those courses that they may want to pursue as, career choices later on. So we want to encourage all students. So I would much rather see our data than see what I would consider false data, because they are manipulating it by not allowing certain populations into those classes. And or discouraging students from testing.
Right.
And we would never do that.
Yep.
Linda.
For a Sunday report or superintendent's report, I'd be curious, so some breakdown of those 929 kids. How many are ELs, for example, or FEPs even? How many Hispanics, male, female? I would just like to see who are taking our AP courses and what grade.
Yeah, I didn't. I think last year I did include that. I didn't include that this year. We saw that the reclassified students were represented fairly evenly. Hispanic was a little bit underrepresented. And then male-female balance was about there. But I'll run it again for this year just to see if that's holding true or not. Yeah.
And then can you compare last year's versus this year's?
Okay.
Yeah. And we also, one of our big goals is to reach parity, which means that we would have the kind of an identical distribution within the AP courses that we have in the school. So that's our true goal. We're not there yet, but that's what we're working
I'd like
towards.
to see how close we are.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks.
I'm curious about staffing. How are we ensuring we're getting AP physics teachers and some of these pretty hardcore classes?
Our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources does an exceptional job of recruiting. So we actually, and that is true. I am not being sarcastic, believe it or not, Mr. Winslow. So he does an excellent job of going out early and also promoting the types of classes and letting people know what our courses are about, what our staff is about, and the support that we will give. We do provide AP training for our staff on a regular basis. So all new teachers go to the week-long training in the summer for their subject area, which is provided by College Board to prepare for the teaching. Once in a while, we get a teacher after that training has happened, so they will tend to start, but then they have Saturday sessions where they will go to kind of a quick shot training, and then they go the following summer for those AP trainings. And then we also train our veteran staff, and they go to trainings about every 2 to 3 years as refreshers or as the AP curriculum changes.
For scorers as well.
Or for scorers, yes, they will go and be a scorer to learn what that's like, and be able to bring that information back to us.
What's the average tenure, I guess, of an AP teacher? How long do they stay teaching AP classes?
It depends, to be perfectly honest. So,
I mean, isn't there, in my experience years ago, there was a fairly big turnover.
I live with one of them. It's 23 years.
Right. It depends. I mean, part of our goal at both of the high schools is to obviously expand the number of students to reach that parity, and also to expand the number of teachers. Part of the challenge when you have AP, it is very specialized. And when you are the only person teaching that course, it's very lonely, and you don't have somebody to collaborate with. So part of our goal is to expand that so we have at least 2 people teaching in the subject area, so there's a partner. And we know that retention is better with our teachers when they have a partner to work with. So we have been doing that at the schools to try to expand. It's also, as an AP teacher, very hard to have more than 2 sections, just because of the amount of work that's turned in.
And that score level, I'm glad Mr. Schrock mentioned that, because that is, but I haven't heard of too many teachers that, my wife has wanted to do it, but she hasn't gone to that level. But I know like Ms. Enriquez that
Go to score tests.
Score test, yeah. And so that would be a next level for them to go to and bring that knowledge back. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And part of the challenge is they tend to do the scoring week during our finals. So that's why we can't send very many people, because they are giving our students finals at that time.
I'm realizing there's a second page to this because math isn't on here yet.
No, we're only on page 3.
Exactly. I was told by Ms. Huerta that I had 45 minutes for this presentation this evening, so.
She wrote down here 3 hours.
Yeah. Go ahead. Excellent. We're on the same page.
We have a closed session to go back into, so you can't have 45
I'll start talking
minutes.
faster. I just one last one. I just want to reiterate what Ms. Padilla said about the government and econ. Although these are listed as 2 separate classes here, it is the one that we actually teach within a semester. So it's a semester of AP Government. At the semester, they switch over and do a semester of econ, and then the students most of them do take both AP courses in the spring, which is a tough time, which is a little more college-like as well. But we see some of the numbers of enrollment sometimes drop because of having to tackle 2 in 1 year. And then if we go on to our next page. Then we have our math classes joined with the computer science, the 2 AP computer science classes and statistics, and then at the bottom the fine arts and foreign language classes. On the computer science classes, we see the numbers going up a little bit here with the computer science pathway at Christopher High, and then those numbers are increasing again this year, so those numbers should go up again for the 2020 tests as well. Yeah, so those are the main points there, and then we're going to go back to that third slide, then, or the next slide, then that shows our overall percentage, showing talked about the number of individual test takers, which is what whoopsie daisies. What we really want to see is, those individual test takers, right? We have a lot of kids maybe taking 4 or 5, but we want to see those individual test takers going up. And looking at the 1920 school year for this year, though it went down, it looks like we're back over 1,000 students taking AP, individual students taking an AP class. We'll see, once we get to the percentage of students actually taking the test, what that plays out, and how is the early enroll sign up going to affect, if we can keep, we've been in the upper 80s for the past few years in terms of percentage of students taking tests, and we'd like to stay there. And then we'll continue to watch our rate of pass. The rate of passing isn't everything, but it's something we want to just keep an eye on, right? And we want to keep looking at that. And then the next slide is right off of DataQuest. This is the public display. The test by test is not a public. That is for districts to choose how they want to share that. But the overall percent of students testing is, and here I show Gilroy Unified and the state, and then others in the county. And so Gilroy Unified is at 29% or about 30%. So it's a weird percentage they do of 10th through 12th graders. So most people don't have a lot of 10th graders taking AP tests, but at least it's a way to look comparatively across districts. And so of our 29-30% here, a little over the state average, and then looking at San Benito, Monterey County. And then I threw in the other districts in the county because we have a lot of districts we're very, very near right here. Milpitas at 31, Santa Clara at 32, Campbell at 30. So we're really in the ballpark of a lot of our neighboring Santa Clara County districts. It was good to see. Some are much higher than we are, and we've talked about the demographic differences across the county, but I think that was worth pointing out to see where we are kind of versus the state and then the rest of the county. So then, shifting to some other college readiness scores, looking at the SAT and PSAT results. The SAT now is, we have 2 full years of data of the new SAT test, in which they're reporting the scores in 2 categories. They've taken the writing as a separate, or they've taken the essay portion out. They've taken the other part of writing and combined it with the reading. So they have the what's called the evidence-based reading and writing, which here is, I have abbreviated ELA, and on some of the charts you'll see abbreviated ELA, but you'll see ERW also for that part of the test, evidence-based, and because there's a real focus on citing evidence in the writing, looking for evidence in the reading, and really in that college readiness framework that they're looking in this revised SAT. And so then the other portion is the math test. Has also changed a bit, a little more data analysis in the math test. They've tried to bring that in. They're trying to focus on what are the math skills, not only for college, but they're used more across various careers as well. So there were some changes made there as well. And then we'll look at the PSAT results for our 10th graders, which have taken it several years now as 10th graders, and the 8th graders. So for the SAT, kind of the top half here is the older test results, and here how this is, and this is all, once again, this is off DataQuest, so this is the publicly available, where it was over 1,500 was kind of like, what percentage of your students are over 1,500, or say got over 500 on the three, the reading, the writing, and the essay portion, right? So that was kind of saying what percentage of students got that, and now what they've done is they've moved to meeting benchmark. What percentage of students are meeting the benchmark in ELA or meeting the benchmark in math? And so I skipped that part there on the previous slide then. So they're defining meeting the benchmark as predicting a high likelihood, right, 75% of achieving a C or higher in a first semester class. So that's where they're going with that. So if we look here, then we say, okay, in the 16-17 school year and the 17-18 school year, number of students testing, 82% of Gilroy Unified students meeting the ELA benchmark, 58% meeting the math benchmark, and here we can see as compared to the state, what percent of the state, and it's good to see that we're actually significantly above the state average in ELA, a little bit above in math. Trustee Diaz?
Yeah, are they kind of like a mixed match of numbers based with the old SAT score that was, I think, off of 2,400?
So here exactly. So here there's what it used to be, right, it would have, out of 2,400, they kind of said 1,500 was what they were looking at as kind of that, what percentage of students are above that 500 in each-ish, right, and that was on that 2,400 scale. And so here you kind of, they're still on that scale. They're still using that scale, right? It's still the 800 on the two tests, but rather than saying, saying, oh, did you get a 480? Did you get a 490? They're kind of saying, okay, what did you meet the benchmark? And then we'll look at a kind of some example score report for the PSAT in particular, so students can kind of see where are they at on that.
And we're back to 1,600, like maybe 2 years now, or it's been like
right, exactly. That 16-17 school year is the first year of the full.
Okay.
Right, exactly. Right. Okay. Was that first year? Correct. So then if we compare these results, we look at that, okay, 81% in ELA, 56% in math, and then we go to the PSAT, the 10th grade results now for the past couple of years. Here's the last fall's results, the fall 2018. They just took it again, fall 2019. We'll get those results in the spring. But we can see here 55% met the ERW, the evidence-based reading and writing, and 31% met in math. So we say, well, those are significantly lower, but we have to remember that the 10th grade we administered to all 10th graders. That's out of 887 10th graders, whereas if we go back a slide and look at the SAT, that's just the portion of the population who chooses to take the SAT, right? So we're already talking, now we're starting to filter down to a group of students who are planning to go to college in some way. So it's tough to compare those sets of numbers, but we'll want to just watch both of those over the series of years. And then the percent meeting both benchmarks. Interesting to see this 31% meeting math. We're seeing that similar in CASP, right? When we looked at the CASP results, was that a couple of meetings ago, and saw our 11th grade CASP results around that 30%. So I like to see that there's that correlation there so that we can kind of watch these 10th grade numbers. If we can see those 10th grade numbers go up, it'd be a predictor for the 11th and so forth, right? So it'll be interesting to keep watching that correlation, particularly on the math side. I think the English was very similar. I think we were around 58% in English on CASP too, so we're seeing some similar things there. So then if we go down then to the 8th grade, this was the last fall's 8th grade group. What was nice to see is that the math is up at 39%. Now, how will that play out? How will that play out for that same group of 8th graders 2 years later as 10th graders and 11th graders? Will we see some trends up? And that'll be some of the data we can watch over time.
All 11th graders take it as well?
They do not. So all 10th graders take it, and then the schools kind of open it up to 11th graders. It is the national merit test, but we aren't requiring all 11th graders across the district. Right.
So you're saying my son signed up for it on his own volition?
Sure, he took advantage of that, right?
I don't know.
Did the students have to pay for that test before PSAT? I remember at one point it was like the Christopher family paid for our sophomores to take it, but is that still the case? Or?
So the district is covering for all 10th graders, and then if beyond that 11th graders, then the sites may look at how they're funding that, whether it's through through their own funds, right, exactly.
And then the eighth graders, they're taking it now too then?
Right, exactly, and we're covering those costs
Wow.
as well, right,
Okay.
exactly. So that's the last year was the first year, this is the second year,
Wow.
right? And so then I did want to show what those score reports look like, right? Here's an example of the 10th grade, but the 8th grade score report is very different. And the 10th graders then get this score report mailed home. In addition, they get their test booklets back and their incorrect and correct answers. And so they have that opportunity to then take those and learn from the scores they have. So on the score report here then, right, they can see where they were, and then how close they were, if they didn't quite meet the benchmark, kind of, are they near, are they in that yellow area? In this case, the student was over the benchmark and their exact score on each of the tests, and then they'll have that test book that they can go. One of the activities the academic coordinators do then is when they meet with the students in the spring, they remind them that they can then link these scores to Khan Academy. Khan Academy is linked, and so that they can import their scores into Khan Academy, and then Khan Academy will tailor practice activities for them based on the weaknesses on their PSAT. So building up some more of that kind of culture to have students take advantage of these results are the kinds of things that the ECs are doing, moving forward at the schools. And then finally, just a look at our college going rate. And these numbers are a bit lower than some numbers we've seen before. But what's nice is now the state of California is now producing these. We've worked with National Clearinghouse, and I've reported the National Clearinghouse data to you over a number of years. However, now the state of California is pulling in that National Clearinghouse data into their database so that we can see some comparative numbers across the state. So this, for the first time, we kind of get to see what's the county rate of total 2-year, 4-year going and by year. Oftentimes when I would look at it, when I would pull the data, sometimes I would pull the data that said after the first 6 months of freshman year of college, what were the rates? And so they'd be a little higher. So the California is saying at the beginning of first semester, what's the rate? So these are a little lower than some rates. So, if we pull them 6 months later, you get students enrolling second semester, you see those rates go up. But here, at least we're able to look at it comparatively across the state where we are. And if you note the note down below there, one of the caveats of National Clearinghouse is that California has a very high rate of blocked information. So some states, they only block about, that's of students being willing to report or colleges reporting student data to them. And so we have to say take this with a grain of salt to say, okay, could be off by up to 11% in terms of blockage of scores being reported. Having said that, we're at least able to compare from year to year, right? Okay, so it's under by 6% or whatever. We're able to see, are we making a trend? Where are those trends going as we continue with our A through G requirements, for example? Where are those rates going at the 2-year and 4-year enrollment? All right. I don't know if I spoke quick enough, but any other questions? I think we asked a lot of questions as we were going here, but anything else follow up or?
Thank you for the presentation. Anyone?
Can you repeat it?
Yeah. Maybe a separate session. We can have a no.
Just for Enrique. I think the rest of us got it the first time.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Winslow, let's give a provisional internship permit to Kenneth May from the Dr. T.J. Owens Gilroy Early College Academy math teacher.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Flores. Tonight I'm here to request that the board approve, as you mentioned, a provisional internship permit request from Mr. Kenneth May, who will be filling in for a teacher who will be on leave, an extended leave in a vacancy. So we're asking that the board do approve this.
Is Mr. May teaching now?
He is not. He has actually taught for us before.
Okay.
He taught at Gilroy High School for 1 year. So we recruited him when we found out that there was going to be a leave.
Okay.
Yeah, and he is not credentialed, so the provisional internship permit would allow him to substitute for much longer.
Okay.
Is he full-time? Will it be 100%?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for seeking out these candidates. We definitely need our students to be taught, so thanks.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. If there's no further questions, I will entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Go get it, Mr. May. Board member reports. Keeping in mind that we have to go into closed session. Mr. Doyle.
Able to attend El Robley's Fall Festival. It was a very well put together organized, and a lot of things for the younger students, a lot of things for the older students, and it was well supervised. Neat and pony rides or something. Petting zoo and
Wow.
gaming truck.
Oh, cool.
Older students and they were out there playing games. And the girls volleyball team at Christopher High School last Tuesday won their first CCS semifinal match, and they're playing tonight. I haven't heard of anything about tonight yet, so.
They won. Yeah, I heard.
Go Cougars.
Yeah, very positive vibes.
Their volleyball team is doing exceptionally well. They're, I believe, undefeated this year.
Undefeated in league, first time, and they're about to play for the championship. And the way the bracket worked out, they're playing they're the number 1 seed, so they'll play the number 2. So it's really a number 1, number 2 seed.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other reports?
Just to follow up with that, because Christopher also their field hockey team also made it to CCS playoffs, and they won their first playoff yesterday. I went to that one because I knew I couldn't go to today's, even though they're different sports. But in regulation, they tied 0-0, and then they went to sudden death at overtime, and they won in that. And I think their tennis did really good. I think they won their league also. That one I just heard about, so they're doing pretty good.
Ms. Fayak.
So this last month, I've actually been going to a lot of events in San Jose, kind of on behalf of the school board. But I did go to the Office of Santa Clara County Offices of LGBTQ Affairs did a listening forum in Gilroy at the City Library. So it was great to be able to hear a lot of feedback. And one of the things that they're requesting from the county is really a community wellness center. They would love to have a community wellness center. So I don't know what the progress is for leasing ADB, but that would be kind of
Agencies very interested.
perfect. I also attended the 2019 State of the Youth Conference held by Assemblymember Ash Kalra, and the Superintendent of Schools, Tony Thurman, was there as well. So, and it was led by students through the Californians for Justice organization. It was really great because the students were really advocating for increased funding for the schools, but then also systematic changes so that the systems don't incarcerate youth. But I had an opportunity to speak to Tony Thurman, and he's looking at policies around social emotional learning that he can advocate for. So anybody have ideas? He's looking for ideas. And then the Silicon Valley Leadership Group had their annual policy lunch, and a lot of it, of course, is around affordable housing and the homelessness problem that we have. I also attended the annual SCC SBA fall dinner. And they really had a great speaker, and she was a dean of students at Stanford for very, very many years, and she wrote a book on how to raise an adult. And it was really interesting. She did it with a lot of humor and humility. But the biggest takeaway really is that we have to provide our youth with agency and resiliency. Because her issue was that she saw a lot of parents of her Stanford students doing a lot of the work for the students. So kind of like the lawnmower parent. So that's why it was the agency piece. I also attended the Santa Clara County Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Summit. So it was really nice because there was lots of agencies and CBOs in the same room trying to tackle the same problem. And a lot of it was around
adverse childhood experiences, understanding that, and then how do we as adults build in protective factors for our youth to combat the trauma. I also attended, I like the education from SCOE. I attended the MTSS boot camp yesterday. It was interesting. It was because we say MTSS, and I didn't quite understand exactly what it was, so it was a lot of information in 3 hours. And very daunting, but I encourage my fellow board members, because that's how I learn a lot, is taking advantage of a lot of those education programs from SCOE. So that was very nice.
You've been busy.
I
have been busy.
Yes. And then we also had a meeting with the Housing Advisory Committee. And
That's City of Gilroy?
Yes. So what we're trying to do is we're looking at mixed use communities. So the next step is we're going to go to visit some sister cities, and Morgan Hill has a couple of communities that we'll see so that we can kind of bring back and make recommendations. And then Census 2020 next year, I'm part of the youth engagement part of it, and so kind of save the date, May 9th, is they're going to have a youth voice live event where they want youth to, and right now they're in the planning phases, and so this body has been making presentations to the city youth advisory commissions throughout Santa Clara County to get youth involved, because we want them to help plan the day. So actually, I think next Monday, I'll be doing a presentation to the Gilroy. So. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You did all this in your spare time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Drunk. Thank you. It's probably me. If you hit the button and it's right there, and, that happens. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Upcoming and new referral agenda items. Anyone? Okay.
I'd like to just have the idea of a calendar, a district-wide calendar that has events.
On the web.
Mm-hmm. Just as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a district-wide calendar on the web. Yeah, but I don't know.
Send us some information.
Okay.
All right. Anyone? Announcements. The board will. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can we get so when I was listening to the ACES presentation, I was just wondering if we can we can have someone come in and do a presentation for the board in a future meeting.
What subject? Sorry.
Adverse childhood experiences.
Like the workshop you went to?
It'll be really short, not like the whole workshop, but just kind of giving the board an idea of what it is.
There's a good book on that. It isn't meant to supplant that or anything, but I've read a book on that. I'm halfway through. I haven't finished it, but it talks about ACE scores and 7 different factors and stuff. It really affects longevity of life and health, obviously, and depending on how many of those you're affected by, you can get more adversely affected by them. So,
Twin, is there an agency who would you'd recommend?
Yes, I can.
Could you email that to Debbie? Great.
Okay.
All right. Announcements. If necessary, and it is, the board will adjourn to closed session to continue the discussion of items in Section 2 above. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be Thursday, November 21. Closed session will begin at 5 o'clock, study session at 6 o'clock, regular meeting at 7. The agenda will be posted Friday, November 15th. We are adjourned to closed session.